friends, this is Sherry from Dreaming. How you doing today? Welcome to my channel and thank you for joining me. I'm here with the second video in this new series I've started of working on my Tsunami Rose design team project. It's a new design team I'm on, and I came to you in the last video and showed you the kit that I was using, the Charming Fragments. So that kit, I'll link Daisy at Tsunami Rose, her Etsy shop, below this video. But I've made 2 covers. In the first video, I said, well, there's so many pages here, I don't know if they'll all fit in one journal. So I'm making, well, I'm gonna, I think, end up making 3. So here's 2 of the covers, and I'll show you what I'm using. I'm gonna make a cover with you today. From start to finish on the cover, and show you just how I'm making these covers. So it's easy, but it does involve some sewing. And here's the outside, 2 of the outside covers that I chose for the front cover, the pages in the cover, and they're very sturdy. I wanted to use try something a little different on as the base, so I'll show you what that is. And so here's the inside. It's got a pocket here, and the inside pretty papers on this one. And here's this one. Here's the inside pocket. So yeah, I think they're both really pretty. And of course they're all going to be pretty because these papers are beautiful. But anyway, if I said in the first one, if you're wondering, how do you take your printed papers and turn them into a journal? You just have paper. So what do you do next? So what I am doing is I picked out some. I had bought these. They were printed. They're printed on this side, and they used to be envelopes that kids brought their, the only thing I could figure out is kids brought their homework home for their parents to look at, or assignments or whatever. And on the back was another section where it was a big envelope. You had the papers inside, and then there was a place in the back where the parents could sign. Anyway, I've reused some of these and made ephemera out of them, but I still had some left. They're so strong and thick. This thicker than a regular brown envelope. They're cardstock. You know what I mean? So I thought, well, let me just use some of these. They're just sitting here, and I need to go ahead and use them. And I thought they would be a nice sturdy base. So this is my, let's see, make sure I got my front cover. Now this is my front cover here. So what I'm doing is just cutting this piece of envelope down to use as my cover. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first. I've got my paper cutter here. Let's cut this down. So we have that ready to go. So this is just really from the very beginning of making these. What exactly I'm doing is what I'm going to try to show you, at least on this cover, and how I did those. So I want to get this even here with the bottom, so I don't have to mess with that. If it's even, I won't have to cut that again. So I'm just measuring with my paper here, my cardstock envelope. So there, I'm keeping all my scraps, and going to see if I need those for ephemera or something, later from these envelopes, because they're so nice and strong. So this is going to go over, and you can't see through this paper, so that this graphic here, I cannot see it through this paper, so I think it'll be fine. And even if you could, I'm recycling, but still, just for information, I cannot see through this paper. So I'm going to glue this down. This is what I'm doing first. I'm just using my art glitter glue to glue this down. So, and I've got this here to protect my surface from getting glue everywhere, just in case I go crazy with the glue, or any seeps out somewhere over the edges or something. And I'm just kind of getting a good overall little coat on, not a coat, but just overall kind of coverage like this, just to get it all nice and glued down. I don't want any wrinkles. And I'm using the art glitter glue because it's got this real, how it is. It comes with this nice small, well, sometimes it doesn't come with it. Sometimes you have to order it separate. But anyway, it comes with this small nozzle, so you can get some nice little glue bits on here. And I make sure I get it around the edges good. And in the corner, you know, right up to the corners. So it's all nice and glued down before I sew on it. So when I'm gluing this down, just getting it right to the edge here as I put it on. And you have a very few seconds to move this around when you're putting it down. So you have to kind of try to get it down. If you're using art glitter glue, because it dries so fast. So, I mean, you can cut off your edges if you don't get it right. But I think I've got it right here. I think I did pretty good. Okay, so there's one side. And I just get it all, you know. You can use a credit card or something if you need to feel like you want to burnish it down better than just with your hand. But, I mean, I think I've just been using my hand this morning, my fingers here, and it's been fine. So, but I am doing it all over here, make sure. And I'm not bending it yet. I'm kind of letting it dry before I fold the middle, because this is going to be Traveler's Notebook size like the other ones. So here's my inside page. I've already cut my pages the size I wanted them. So, and I'll tell you the final size because I cut a little bit more off to do what I wanted to do and just have on here what I wanted to have on here. So they're a little bit smaller than they were when I first showed them to you. So I think they're going to be 4 1/4 inches wide after folding, but they'll be a little bit smaller than 8 1/4 inches long. They'll probably be about 8 inches long. But okay, so let's go back and get my edges here, as I've got glue all over. But I want to make sure I have my edges down good. And so while I'm doing this, you know, while we're working on this glue is drying before I sew it. Okay, make sure my images are upright before I glue the back on, which they are. So now we're going to glue the back on. I'm going to try to get this in the right spot again, right even with my edges. Kind of lining up the bottom. And then the sides. And the top. I'm going to pull it up a little bit. Okay, yeah, I think we've got it. Okay. And spread it out right away and kind of burnish it down with whatever you're using so you don't have any little, you know, wrinkles or bubbles or anything. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go around the edges real quick here. Make sure all the edges are nice and flat. Okay, so this is our front, the roses and the lady here. This is our inside. Okay, so next what I did was I had printed out some extras by mistake. I think I mentioned that in the first video where I had told it to print on certain paper and cardstock and stuff as I was printing the different pages, and some of them printed on the wrong paper. That seems to always happen to me. I tell my computer, you know what to do, and then it just decides to, because I have more than one place where it can bring in paper, and then it decides to go ahead and just bring in the wrong paper. So what I'm doing here, see, here's the front, here's the inside. So this was some of the paper that was extra. So you see it's the same here, because I was debating on, you know, I have an issue with covering things up, pretty things. I'm like, at first I was like, I'm not going to be able to cover this up. It's so pretty. I'm not going to be able to have any pockets in here. But then I realized some of the pages I printed out were you know, doubles of the pages. So I said, well, let me take another page. I can make pockets out of that and kind of match it up here, and I won't really be covering. While I will be covering this up, it's the same, you know, it'll end up being the same. So that's what I'm doing with the pocket. So I'm using pieces that I've, if I can, cut off already, which I don't think I have a piece right here. So I'm going to have to cut this. So I kind of figure out like, okay, how, you know, I can see how wide my pockets are, or how deep do I want them. So you see this little kind of receipt right here. I'm going to go just above that, and that's about how deep I'm going to make this pocket. So I have this whole receipt, and it's right here. See, it matches on my, for my pocket on the inside cover here. So I'm going to make a little fold here. I'm going to go ahead and cut this right here, and I'll show you what I'm doing. So I cut that, and now I'm going to take this, whoops, sorry, that was loud, I'm sure. Okay, so see this, I'm going to cover this up, as you can't see through this paper. So I'm going to cover this up, and then the pocket will have this on the inside, the plain part, so if somebody wants to look in the pocket, they won't see. I mean, it doesn't really matter if you could see this, but that's just the way I'm doing it. Since this side is blank, I'm going to go ahead and use this. This is uneven here, so I'm going to even that up real quick. I see that is uneven, so I need to start with the even sides on all sides here. So if your sides aren't even, get those even. Okay, I think we're good now. So again, we're matching this up. I need to get my side cut off here. Okay, let's do that. And I'm measuring with my paper here. Okay, I'm going to cut that off. All right. Don't forget I'm gluing over here. Doesn't matter which way this goes. Okay, so it looks like it's... Oh, I need another little sliver off here. See that right there? Need another little sliver off here. Not quite right. Just want to make sure. I don't want to cut it too short, you know what I mean? Got to be just right here on this part. Sorry, I'm hitting the... Okay, about right there. Okay, that should do it. It's a very thin sliver. Can't even probably can't even see that. Okay, so that looks good now. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my paper. Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and cut my paper. I'm measuring with the piece we just cut, you know, the piece of cardstock. So about right there should be good. Okay. All right. So we're gluing on this side. We're going to glue these two pieces together. If I run out of time on this video where I can't complete this, I'm hoping to complete it today in this video, but if I run out of time, I'll come back and, you know, with another video and just continue from where we leave off. I want to get this glued down on here. Get my edges right down to my corners. I just want enough glue on there so I don't have any bubbles anywhere popping up or wrinkles trying to form or anything. I want it to glue down nice and flat. Okay, so the same thing, try to get that on there, right to your edges, top, bottom, and sides. And I'm going to go with my top in case I need to cut some off the bottom. I think I'd rather cut it off the bottom than the top of this paper in case I don't have it sized right. So measured right or cut right. Okay, let's go ahead and kind of make sure that's all flat. On the edges and everything. Oops. Okay. Now we have actually we have a little. I had a feeling I could feel a little extra happening there, so I'm going to cut that. Let's see. Let's cut it with my scissors because I don't want to cut off any of my file folder by accident. I'm just going to cut right even with my. Did I say file folder? My cardstock. Okay, there we go. Got a nice even edge there. Cut that extra piece off. And there we go. We have that. It's going to be our pocket right here. So next what I've been doing is just, see, this is the divider line where the pages fold. So I'm folding that because I always cut my pockets. I make a little triangle in the middle. Whoops. Make a little triangle in the middle. So I'm just folding right on that fold. I want to get my paper folded right on the fold that is there in the design. Okay, so I've got my fold. I'm going to cut a little triangle here. This makes it easier to get in and out of pockets. Okay, so let me check my time real quick. See if we're going to be able to get through this. So we might make it. Okay, so my next step, let me move this. Next step is going to be a little sewing. So I'm going to do a little sewing on the pocket before, I got my drink here. Let me get that out of the way. I'm going to do a little sewing on my pocket before I don't need this either. A little sewing on my pocket before we attach it to the cover, because this part I want to sew on, but that can't be sewn after you sew it onto the cover, right? So a little pre-sewing here. So I'm just going to sew right here, down here, over here, and up here, and over here. That's the plan anyway. Let's see how it goes. All right. So yeah, I'm just using a zigzag stitch on here. Let me get my foot pedal in the right direction. Trying to turn around on me. Okay. All right, let me get this going. Okay, I'm going to turn for my little triangle. Let's see, I'm going to make sure I'm at the end of the triangle here. I'm going to turn at the end of the triangle, go over to the other side of the triangle. Let's see, I think I need to go back a little bit. Or, let's see. Yeah, that'll be all right. I just need to go back one. Let's see how that is. Yeah, that should be good. Yep. Okay. I'm in the right position now. Now we're going to go up our other side of our triangle. All right, that looks good. See if we can turn carefully and go down this other side of the top. Okay, a little back stitch for anchoring. All right, that should be good. All right. Now, this is what we did. Let me cut off my strings real quick and I'll show you. Okay, we just did this. We went like this, okay? So we've got that all secured. I wanted to do that just to have that all with the stitching for one thing, the look of the stitching, and then, you know, the decoration of the stitching, and then also the security of having all that sewn together. Okay, so now I'm going to, I hope you guys can see okay. I know it's always kind of weird when people are sewing and you kind of can see and you kind of can't see. Okay, so remember which side was your front and which side was your back on your cover. Here's my front. I'm going to turn it over, and now we're going to sew the cover into the front cover. But let me just tell you one thing. First of all, I'm going to glue a little bit here and glue this down because I just want it to, I don't want it to move. And my machine goes through art glitter glue fine. You know, I'm just putting like a fine bead here. So it's not like I'm putting a lot of glue. And by the time I get to it, you know, it dries so fast. By the time I get down to it, it will be, you know, I just have never had a problem sewing with art glitter glue. Fabri-Tac would probably be a whole different story. And so I just use the art glitter glue or a glue stick when I'm sewing over glue, glued parts, you know what I mean? But I just, I did this already once without gluing it down, and it was fine, but I thought, you know, it would be even better if I went ahead and just, you know, made sure it wasn't going to move. So the second time on the second cover, I went ahead and glued it down like this and just had a little bit easier time making sure it didn't move when I was sewing. So let's go ahead and do this. I think we still have time. And I'm just trying to see where my pin went for my art glitter glue. I'll find it later. And let me check my time. Okay, yeah, I've got plenty of time here. We should be able to finish this. Okay, so I'm going to start. Let me just put this where you can see. I think I'll start over here. And I sew on the inside because that's where the pockets are, and I need to see where I'm going over the pockets and how far I'm in and stuff like that. So instead of sewing on the outside, you know, the front part here, I sew on the inside when I'm sewing on pockets so I can see what I'm doing, right? And so I'm just going to get this in position. This machine has, I have it set on a pretty good, big, you know, good size zigzags, so I have to make sure I'm in enough when I'm starting here to, you know, account for my big zigzag here. So, okay. Over the pocket. I'm going to stop down here at the bottom. Let me see. I think I need to, no, that'll be all right, I think. Let me see how it turns. Yeah, that'll be good. Okay. Now we're going to go across the bottom. Room for one more, and then we're going to go up the other side. Alrighty, let me see if I can go down one more. Yep, I think that'll be all right. And across the top, and we'll be done. Couple more stitches. One more. And I'm going to anchor it. All right, that's it. Okay, let me get my strings here. Okay, so I'm just going to cut off my strings and I'll show you kind of the last step here for right now until we do the page, start on the pages, which will be in the next video. But yeah, here we've got our everything sewn together. Pockets on. There's a string. So I'm just gonna, you gotta just try to fold on this line right now. See, everything's right in the middle. You can see my pocket right here. And so we're just gonna, I'm gonna look at the outside because I want to make sure the front, you know, I want to make sure that is exactly right, folded on the line. If this wasn't folded right on the line, it wouldn't really matter that much. I mean, it's going to be on the line, but say it was just a fraction of an inch off, you know, it wouldn't matter because you're going to sew your pages in there. You're not going to see anything that's off right here. But out here, you're going to see if it's off because this is your outside cover, unless you're going to cover up your spine. But I don't anticipate that right now. I anticipate having this spine as it is, but you never know. I might cover it up with some lace or something. But right now, I just want to make sure it's right so that in case I don't put anything on the spine, I want this outside fold to be perfect here. So I'm just folding. Now, you know, everything's dry enough at this point. And just folding a nice fold there on the outside. Okay, so you've got like 2 layers of paper and your cardstock that you're folding. Plus, when you get down to your pocket, you have more little layers on the bottom here. So anyway, there it is. I think it turned out nice. That's how I'm doing the covers on these traveler's notebooks. So I think it looks real pretty with the stitching too, and the black thread goes along well with these colors. So it's a good base color, neutral color, really. So that's it for this video. Next video, I'm going to, I think, decorate some of the pages because I printed my pages one-sided and I want to do something different things to the blank side. I want to do, I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I have some things in mind that might be a little different than I regularly do. So I will be back with that video next. So thank you for watching today. I hope you enjoyed making the cover and seeing how I'm doing it. So see you next time. Happy crafting.